Hello, in this lecture we will be taking a look at Chapter 3 and we will be moving on through this workbook. Remember that the file that we will be using will be, once again, Larry Landscaping. So the same file we've been using for Chapters 1 and 2 will be the same file. Therefore, in order to open this file, all we need to do, there's a couple ways we could do it. We can open the Quickbooks file, look for the actual data file, which happens to be in, for me, in the data files here. Double click on that. That should open the program just as a Word file would, or you can open the program first and then look for the data file. If you open the program, it generally will open to this page and you'll have the files that could be opened in the quick reference area here, and you could check Larry Landscaping. I generally like to open the file tab. Later on we'll have multiple tabs that could be the same or similar in name. It's very easy to open the wrong one. So if we go to the File tab, which will be open even if another window is open, and go to Open or Restore, we can then find exactly the file that we are looking for. And I'm going to select Next. I'm going to go to the desktop. I'm going to scroll down to our QuickBooks folder, and we're on the data files, and I'm going to click Larry Landscaping here. Now once you open this, you might have all this stuff open from your prior worksheet. So notice we have all these files that I left open from the last time we were working on these. You may want to go through here and just close these out. You can just close these out individually. You could go to Windows up here in the drop down and say Close All. That'll close everything. If you still want the Home tab open, then you can go over here and open the Home tab and be back to this fresh page with nothing in the open windows, so that we can start from scratch. If you do not have this open windows open on the side over here, I suggest doing so. You go to the View tab up top and select the open windows in order to open that tab. Alright, so I'm going to scroll down. Once again, you should read through the scenario, push the pause button, read through the scenario. I'm going to skip down to the activities, which are going to be in the gray areas. First objective being on page 44 to create a standard income statement. So we're going to open Larry Landscaping Garden, which we have done so. Number 2 says Open Report Center, click the Standard tab, and then click the Company and Financial, and then double click the Profit and Loss. Change the date from to 10/1, the date to 10/31. Alright, so I'm going to go to QuickBooks. Going to go back to the reports. Once again, we can go to the reports over here in the reports area. If it opens in a small window, we're going to maximize that window. The standard default will be to the Company and Financials. If yours open to the Memorize tab or something up top, we want to be on the Standard tab. If you want to then see this in List View, once again, you can go to the side over here. You see these 3 lines. That stands for the List View. And the first financials in the Company and Financials is called the Profit and Loss. That is what QuickBooks calls the income statement. So we need to get used to this terminology difference that we have between QuickBooks software, means different softwares, and financial accounting. Someone asked me for an income statement, and we use QuickBooks. We're looking for generally the profit and loss. And we want to open the standard profit and loss. That should be the first one. We're going to go ahead and run this. So we have the profit and loss standard. Now we have a date range here. Notice in the balance sheet, you recall that we only had one date up here because the balance sheet is as of a point in time, and this is as of a time frame. So we need a beginning and ending date. Easiest way to change those manually is to hit tab, and it goes right into that date window. And we want 10/1 to 10/31. So I'm going to say 10/01/14 tab 10/31/14. If we hit tab, it should refresh automatically. If we doesn't, I click down in the report, it should refresh automatically. And or you can click this refresh button up here that should refresh the screen automatically. Alright, and then number 3 says click the Customize Report, and guess what we're going to do? We're going to go to the Header and Footer tab and then uncheck the Date Prepared, Time Prepared, and Report Bases, which should become somewhat routine while working these problems. Here's what we're getting rid of. We're going to go to the Customize Report here. We're going to go to the Header and Footer tab there, and we're going to uncheck the Date Prepared, Time Prepared, and Report Bases. Going to remove these items for this report. And check boxes and then select OK. So I'm going to select OK. Those have then been removed. Number 4 then says click the Collapse button on the View Figure 3.1 and then scroll down the income statement. This report summarizes revenue and expenses for this month. Notice that QuickBooks Accounts does not use the standard accounting term revenue, but instead uses the term income. Subtotals are included for revenue and expenses. Observe also the period specified for this particular report, 10/1/10/31, the span of this report period. Alright, so we're going to go back over here. We're going to hit the collapse button. So up here we can see this collapse. The subcategories will then collapse, giving us a shorter report. We have the income minus the cost of goods sold, gives us the gross profit, and then we have total ordinary income, total expenses, gives us the net ordinary income minus other expenses, gives us the net income at the bottom here. What they're referencing here is that a lot of times we will call the revenue section. They're calling it the income section. Same thing, just a little bit different of the terminology in QuickBooks from some traditional accounting type of formatting. And again, we really need to know that so we can then, if we go to the CPA firm or if we're getting audited, we need to know, or if we're the auditor, which happened to me many times. I learned the financial statements before learning the software. When I went to go audit people, I would ask for things like an income statement, and I've had people tell me I don't have an income statement, but we have a profit and loss. Well, those are the same thing. So we're going to have to learn the terminology either side of the table that we're on, whether we're creating the financial statement so we can present that to others, and if we are asking for financial statements from individuals. Alright, so I'm going to scroll down here. We see that, and you're going to pause this and read through the information. We're now on page 45, and I'm going to skip to the gray area, which has another objective of to revise the period of time and report title. So then we're going to change from date on the previous created income statement to 1114 to 12/31/14, and then select refresh. So I'm going to change the from date 01/01/14 just like that without any dashes or anything. I'm going to hit tab and it should format as we want it to 12/31/14 and hit tab, and then it should refresh. I'm going to click down here to make sure it did. You can also click refresh up here as well to make sure that it did refresh. So now if we look at this little screenshot, we can see that they have the 620 and the 8582 for a 98,609.86. That is the net total income, 98,609, sorry, 86. So it looks like we have the correct numbers here, so that is good. So then we're going to say to change report title, click the customize report, and then click the header and footer. So the report title is currently profit and loss. I actually already changed it in mine, so I'll show you how to change it. It's profit and loss, and we're going to change it to the more traditional income statement. And therefore, so if we go back here, I already made the change, but let's see where that change was. We're going to go to the customize report tab up here. We're going to go to the header and footer tab. We're going to change this from profit and loss to the income statement. And then we'll say OK. Then what we want to do is to click OK and then to memorize it. So then we're going to go ahead and memorize this. We already have our name set up as the location where we could memorize reports. We did that in a prior area. So if you don't remember how to do that, we went to reports, we went to memorize, and then we went to edit, and see our name should be in here. Here's my name. It'll be in alphabetical order. If you do not have that, you can hit this and you can go to edit or new group and then type your name in and hit OK, and that'll insert a new group. I'm going to close this, back to our report. Now that we have the group, I'm going to select memorize, and I'm going to replace it because I did this before as well. And new, and then I'm going to select here and I'm going to choose my name and then OK. I'm going to select OK, and there's already one in there, so it's telling me you already have one, so I'm going to select OK. If you don't already have one, you will then save it in that location. Alright, then I'm going to scroll down, and we then have the item on number 5 says save this report as shown in figure 3.1 as income statement in the memorized report group you create in the last chapter, and then click OK, then close the income statement. So I'm going to go ahead and print it in this case and save it to the Excel file for our purposes. So I'm going to say Excel, hit the drop down, create a new worksheet. And then we're going to get this. I'm going to create a new workbook. In this case, next time I'll put it to the existing workbook. So I'm going to create a new workbook. going to export. It should open Excel automatically. So here is Excel opened up. I'm going to make this large, and we have this tab here. I'm going to go to the page layout view, going to select OK. Then I'll have this tab. I'm going to go back to, and in this case, we know that the split option is going to happen. So I'm going to go to the View tab right here, and I'm going to go to the Windows group and select the Unsplit. So that'll unsplit and make it look more normal. Then I'm going to change the tab name by double-clicking on it and calling this the income statement. We'll just call it that, and I'll say 12.31. I'm going to go back to the normal view here, and then I'm going to go to File, Save As. We need to put this somewhere in case we need to upload it for homework. And I'm going to scroll down to the, I'm just scroll up to the desktop. Then we're going to scroll down to QuickBooks. I'm going to put it into week 1, and I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to call this Chapter 3. So Chapter 3. Going to put it in here. All right, and then I'm going to rename the tab. It's going to be Chapter 3 Docs or something like that, or Forms, and there is the data path. We're going to save that. Then we can close that if we want. If we don't have that option, once again, we go to File. We can also save as a PDF, or we can print it to a PDF. So I can save it as a PDF in this case as well, just to show that option. If we hit the desktop and scroll down to the QuickBooks file, going into week 1 and Chapter 3, then we can change the name here to Income Statement, and I'll put 1231. Save that. Those are 2 options to save those. We're going to go back and see what we have next. Scrolling down to page 47, you're going to pause, you're going to read through this. I'm going to skip to the gray areas. So it says the next objective, to create a comparative income statement for October and November. So from the Report Center, click the Company Financial, then double-click the Profit and Loss Standard. So we're going to go back. We're going to make a new one. We have this open, but I'm going to make a new one. I'm going to go to the Reports. I'm going to make this large. I'm going to go to the List item over here. If you're not in the Standard, make sure to go on the Standard tab or in Company and Financial here. We're going to open a new Profit and Loss Standard. So I'm going to open a new one, even though we had one open before, so that we can make new adjustments to it. So we have, and notice it's called the Profit and Loss, again, not an income statement. We're back to that. And number 2 then says, set the from date to 11/1 and the to date to 11/30. So we're doing the month of November, so I'm going to go tab 11/01/14, 11/30/14, tab, should refresh, could hit refresh to make sure, 11/1 to 11/30/2014. Then click collapse and then refresh. So they want us to collapse, that's this button right there. That should refresh automatically, you can see it changed, but then you can click refresh just to make sure. Then we want to go to click the Customize Report button and then check the previous period dollar change, percent change checkboxes located under the caption add sub columns. So we're going to add these items down there. So we're going to go back into here, going to go to Customize Report, and we had, let me just double check these items over here. We have the dollar change and the percent change. Then we're going to scroll down. I'm on page 48. Then says, number 4 says, click the header footer tab. And then what are we going to do? Uncheck date prepared, time prepared, and report basis once again. So header footer tab is up here. We've got the date prepared, time prepared, report basis, taking these items off once again there. Number 5, change the name of the statement from profit and loss to comparative income statement. And then we're going to statement and then right align it. All right, so we're going to go to here. We're going to change the profit and loss. We're going to delete that. I'm going to call it a comparative income statement, like so. And then we're going to go from the alignment to standard to right aligned like this. That changes this icon showing what will happen when we select OK which I assume we will do next. Yes, it says to go OK. So we're going to hit OK, and then we have the right alignment. And notice what ended up happening here. We have the month of November, the month of October, the change, this minus this, the percentage change. How do we get the percentage change? We take the change divided by the previous month. So if you wanted to see the calculations on these, then we're just looking at this row. We're going to take the change in dollars, 2092.56 divided by the prior month, which is 19388.2. Then we get the 0.107. Move the decimal 2 places to the right, you get 10. That's a 7. If you go 1 place over, it's greater than 5, therefore it's 10.8%. So that's the percentage change, and we can then take a look at that and see if there's very unusual percentage changes, such as the automobile here, which is kind of unusual. Then we can take a look at those items and try to figure out what happened. Right, so then we're going to scroll down. I'm on page 48. We're down to number 6. Do not close this report. So we will not close this report. Then you're going to pause this. You can read through this item, and we're going to go down to the gray area here. And I'm on page 49. Next objective in the gray area is to use Quick Zoom with the income statement. So now we're going to scroll down the income statement until the tools and miscellaneous equipment line appears. Then place the Quick Zoom cursor over the November tools and miscellaneous equipment amount of 716, and then double click. All right, so let's see, tools and miscellaneous equipment. All right, so here it is. I scroll down 716. So we're going to use our Quick Zoom, which means we're going to say, what about that data? And we're going to double click on that, and that will give us more detail of that data. That detail being a transaction detailed by account, the account being the account we clicked on, which is the tools and miscellaneous equipment. Gives us the activities in there by type, invoice, check, bill, credit card. It gives us the name, and it gives us the activity by date. In this case, it's sorted by date, and that is similar to our notion of the general ledger for this particular account, or kind of like the T account, the activity by date. All right, going back over here, then it says to double click the 610 as shown in figure 3.7 to reveal the bill from Nolan. So then we're going to double click on the 610. So here's the 610. Going to zoom down on that. That happens to be a bill. We can see the date here. Going to double click on that, bringing us to this bill here, and then see what else they would like us to do for that. Then number 3 says close the entire bills and transaction detail by account windows, and then memorize your newly created comparative income statement report into your previously created group. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and print these as we go, just in case we need these for turning them in. And if we go over here, notice there's no option to export this to Excel. We could try going to the file. I don't see the save as report there either. Therefore, what we could do is go ahead and print it to a PDF file. So I'm going to try that option, see if that will work, which I believe it should. It is a good option to have for any type of program. Now, if it doesn't show up here, I'm going to hit this icon, and then it should pop up. I'm going to select the drop down. I'm going to go to our Quickbooks account. I'm going to go into week 1 and chapter 3. Then we could name this bill for Nolan Hardware, and we could put the date 11/27. We could save it that way. If we do not have that option available, we can also click the icon here. We can go to the Word document, open the Word document, and go to the Insert tab, Screenshot, and this is always, again, the last resort option, and screenshot it like that. And then we would want to save this item. I'm going to save this to our folder in the desktop. It's under the Quickbooks. It's in week 1, chapter 3, and then docs. I'm going to just call it chapter 3 docs. All right, and so then we have that. I'll leave that open in case we need to do that again at some future point. So then we can close this. I'm going to click this icon, not the top one, but this one. I'm going to click that icon to close it. And then we have this one. We might as well export this as well. So then we could go to the Excel, we could create a new worksheet, and that will then open this window. We want to put it into an existing workbook because we already have one. It's going to the previous workbook we used, but we haven't, so I'm going to hit Browse, and then it's going to Chapter 2. We want to go to Chapter 3, so that's not actually the right one. I'm going to hit the drop down, I'm going to go back to week 1. We want the Chapter 3 one, so I'm going to go in here, I'm going to double click on Chapter 3. That should then open Excel once I click the Export button. So here we have it. I'm going to go ahead and make it large. I'm then going to go to the page layout group. I'm going to select OK. It did this funny split thing again on us and made this bar down here a little strange. In order to fix that, we're going to go to the View tab, the Windows group, and Unsplit. Then I'm going to double click on the sheet name so we can name it something different, which is going to be the Transaction Detail by Account for Tools, and I'll leave it at that. And then I'm going to drag this to the right side like so and save this change as we already have it in the correct location, so we don't need to select Save As. Then I'm going to go ahead and close this. You can also save it as a PDF file. You can also print it as a PDF file. So if you did not have that option, you could save it as a PDF file. It looks like it's going to the correct location, and then once again you want to put the name here, which would be Transaction Detail by Account, and it's for the tools and miscellaneous. Save it, and there you have that. I'm going to close this. Want to do it for this report as well, so I'm going to go ahead and export this once again to Excel. I'm going to create a new worksheet, and it will give us this. Once again, we want to put it into an existing workbook. Browse. It's now going where we want it to go. So I'm going to, actually it's not. I'm going to say drop down week 1, chapter 3. I'm going to select the chapter 3 here and export. Then we'll make this large. I'm going to go back over here up once again to the page layout here. I'm going to select OK, and then it does this item again. I'm going to go to the View tab. I'm going to go to the Windows grip. I'm going to split to unsplit that. Then I'm going to rename this by double clicking on it, and I'm going to call this the comparative income. I'll say income statement, and 1114. Then I'm going to move this to the last tab like so, so it's on the end. Go back to the normal view, and there we have that. We can close that, save that, and then once again you could also save it as a PDF file. If you do not have that option, go to File, Save as a PDF, and it's going to the correct location. So once again, you could just change the title, Comparative Income Statement for 1114. Save that. All right. So then we're going to scroll down, and we are going to go to page 50. Once again, you're going to pause and read through the scenario. We are going to skip to the gray area, which then has another objective of to add percentage of net income columns and to change the dates on the income statement report. So from the report center, we're going to go to the company and financial and then double click a profit and loss standard. So once again, we're going to start a new profit and loss standard, even though we have this one open. We're going to go to the report center. We're going to go, no, I think I forgot to memorize this. If you wanted to memorize this too, we can go to the memorize reports here once again and select this icon, drop down, select our name, and then click OK. It should take a camera shot to memorize that. Then we're going to go to the report center, and we are going to make this large. I'm going to select it to see it as a list. Then we're going to open once again another profit and loss standard so that we can then adjust it again. So I'm going to run this report, profit and loss standard. We have a new profit and loss standard running here. Then we're going to customize report button on the report button bar, and then select display tab. If it is not already selected, it will be. And then number 3 says we're going to click the percent of income checkbox in the column section to report the monthly amount as percent of total income. I'm going to keep going here, and we're going to actually make it look like this window, of course. Number 4 says we're going to click the From Edit box and then change it to 7-1. Then we're going to go to the To Edit box and change the date to 9/30. These two changes customize report so it reports on the months July through September only. So I'm going to change the date to 07/01 to 09/30. So I'm going to go to customize. I'm going to go 07/01/14 to 09/30/14, and then we are going to change this item to take total only. So that's correct. And then we want to have the percent of income. So we're going to have the percent of income selection here. Hopefully that is correct. Then we're going to go down to page 51. Number 6 says, select the header footer tab and uncheck the date prepared, time prepared, report basis. And there we go. So we're going to go to the header and footer tab once again, uncheck date prepared, time prepared, and report basis. Then we can hit OK. So then we can finally say OK and then collapse. So OK. So we're going to say OK. Then we want to collapse. Collapse is located up here. So we're going to click that item, collapsing the report. And do we look like the picture? 16/6/16 looks correct. Now what have we done here? Why did we do this? We now have the percentages in comparison within this current year. In this case, of course, we're comparing the income compared to the total income here. If we wanted to see how we came up with that 93.4, we would then take this 15,15523.5 compared to the total income, which is 16,616.78, and we come up with this. If we move the decimal over 2 places, 93, 4 followed by a 2 stays at 4, 93.4. And similarly, if we're going to compare the cost of goods sold to the income statement, we have cost of goods sold 2025.03 divided by the income, in this case being 16,616.78, giving us the, moving it 2 places over, 12.1, but that's an 8, so it rounds to 12.2%. What that does is it shows us the relationship of each of these expenses to income, and we can see that, like for example, payroll is a very large percentage of income. Is that the same for other types of landscaping businesses? We could do that type of comparison with percentages with other companies which are much larger or smaller in terms of dollar sizes by using this comparative analysis. Alright, so we're going to collapse that. We're going to scroll down. I'm going to skip this area, and we're going to skip to the beige box, which then has another objective to report the amounts without cents. So we want to make this report have no cents, which means like no pennies and stuff. So we're going to, number 1, click the customize report on the report button bar, and then click the fonts and numbers. Number 2, click without cents checkbox under the show all numbers. I'm going to scroll back here. We're going to go back to customize report. We are then going to go to the fonts and cents, and then we want this report to be without cents, meaning that it still has good information, but it doesn't have the pennies reported. So then we're going to check the box, and we're going to go down to page 52. I'm not going to hit OK until it tells me. It says click OK. So now we can click OK on this button. So we'll select OK, and then it removed the pennies. So the report still makes sense, but has no cents reported because it rounded the cents into the dollars. The number 4 then says click the expand button on the report button bar to view a portion of the revised quarterly income statement. Alright, so I'm going to go back over here. Notice this is expand because if we click it, notice what happens. We click it and it goes collapse. So now we expanded, showing more detail to the report. And now it goes back to collapse here, of course. And then we're going to scroll down to the next objective, which then says to modify the title and its layout. So we're going to once again go back to the customize report on the report button bar, and then click the header footer tab. We're going to click click inside the report title edit box and change the name of the report from profit and loss to the income statement as you have done before. So once again, we want it called the income statement. So we're going to go to the customize report, and we're going to go to the header and footer. We're going to change this profit and loss and say, why did you call it that? And we're going to call it the income statement. That's what this report generally is called. And then we're going to go back over here. Number 3 says change the title alignment by clicking the drop down arrow in the page layout section to centered. Alright, so we're going to go over here to the alignment from standard to centered. There we have it. Not going to click OK until they tell us to do so. Number 4 says before you accept these changes, look at the subtitle edit box. Notice that QuickBooks Accountant had changed the subtitle of the report. So it changed the subtitle even in the edit box over here. That is nice. Alright, then we're going to go to page 53, number 5. Now it says we can select OK to accept the changes. Then we're going to change the columns text box from total to only 2 month. Alright, so I'm going to go here. We're going to select OK. There we have this. Now, the reason it's only the total here, if we want it to show the months separately, we need to select this columns selection here, drop down, and we want to have it month. That breaks it out between July, August, September, and then we have the total of the 3 here. So, and it also gives us, of course, this breakdown in percentage for each of those months. So do we look like the picture here? I think we look pretty much like the picture. That is good. But it says, number 6 says, do not close this report window. We're going to memorize this report, however, with the title for the 3rd quarter. So I'm going to go back over here. We're going to memorize this by hitting memorize and with the title 3rd quarter. Third quarter income statement. And I'm going to go click here. I'm going to select our name. Going to put it there. Take a little camera shot of that, indicating that it has been memorized. Then if we scroll down to the next item to preview the modified income statement, it says click the print on the bar and then click preview in the print reports window. Miniature reproduction of the report appears. So again, it's similar to like the old version, like 2003 version of Windows, where we go to the print preview is in the file, and if we go to print reports, then we have this preview button, and then we can see this print preview button. Again, main thing you want to see on the print preview is that the columns are kind of lined up in the same area, and you'll note that this is not. So, or actually, yeah, see how you have a column over here, so we have these 2 months, and then if I click 2 pages, you have this over here. So if you printed this, it's very ugly. So we kind of want to fix that. I'm hoping that the instructions now will fix that before they print it, because you don't want to turn it in like that. So then we're going to scroll down to number 3 that says, notice that the next page and previous page buttons allow the Windows heading. The preview page button is grayed out, which indicates that there is no previous page, but the next page button is not grayed out. So they're saying that there's a next page that we're going to want to check out. Number 4, after previewing the statement, click the close button on the button bar and then click cancel in the print report. The report reappears. Alright, so we could close the print option like so and close this item like that, or hit the cancel and go back here. Next objective, to reduce the font size. So we're going to take some strategies. How can we make this thing fit on one report? Obviously, normally if you're probably thinking of how we do it, we would print it landscape is probably how we're going to do it, and we could force it to fit on one page as well. But we're going to start out with the font size. So here we go. Font size, click the customize report on the report button bar, and then click the fonts and numbers. So we're going to go back here, we're going to go to customize, we're going to go to fonts and numbers over here, and we're going to scroll down, and it says, number 2 says, click the font change font button located on the bottom center of the window. The column label window appears, and then we're going to choose Arial font. So we're going to go back here, and we're going to change font, and we should get a bunch of fonts that will show up, and we want Arial, isn't already on Arial. And then we're going to choose Arial as the font, narrow bold. So we have the Arial as the font, but we're going to change it to narrow bold. Okay, that's going to make all the difference. And then we're gonna and 8 as the size. So then we have the size being 8. That is where it is at. So that is good. So we look like the picture here. That is good. Number 4 says, click OK to accept the size. A change font window will appear asking if you want to make the change to all related fonts. Click yes, then OK. So I'm going to select OK here, yes, and then OK. And there we have it. So it changed it to the narrow font. Alright, and then I'm going to scroll down to page 56 where we have a new objective which states to preview the modified income statement. Click print, report button, click preview. The print preview window appears. Notice that the heading for this window may still include the words pages 1 through 4. Change the font size has reduced the report size, but not enough that will fit to one page. Alright, so we're checking to see if this fixed the problem so that it will all print all columns on one page. And so we're going to check that by going to the File tab. We're going to go to the Print Report, and we're going to go to Print Preview, and we can see that there's still multiple pages, and it's still really kind of ugly. So we're going to go ahead and close that and say that didn't solve the problem, which is shocking. So then we're going to go to the next item that says to change the document from portrait to landscape. See, that's what I came up with off the bat here. So now we're going to change it from portrait to landscape. So we're going to click print on the report button bar and go to the print reports window. Click the landscape button in the orientation, and then we're going to fit the report to one page wide. We're going to go over here. We're going to go back to the files. We're going to go to the print report button once again, and we're going to change it to landscape is right here. We're going to change landscape, and then we're going to fit it to one page wide. Once again, you usually don't care that it's more than one page high, because it's okay to have the second page on the second page a lot of times, but you don't want to have the second column on the second page because that is kind of unusual. So then we're going to say preview that. Did that do what we want it to do? We still have a next page, but at least it's not a different column now. So this is much improved. I'm not sure if we're going to stop there, but that does look better. So then we're going to go to number 4 that says click the preview once again. The report still does not fit on one page, thus your only option is to collapse the report and forego the detail. So they want it on one page tall as well. So again, it's not as big a deal. So in number 5, click close and then cancel the print report window. Click the collapse button. So in order to get it on one page tall, we can close this window and we can close this, and then we're going to collapse the data so we don't have as much detail. If we collapse it, then this looks like it may actually fit on one page. Alright, and then click the collapse button, click the print button, and the preview. Let's preview that one more time. So we're going to go back over here. We're going to go to the file. We're going to go to the print report. We're going to preview that, and now there's no next page, indicating that it is indeed one page, which is great. Then number 6 says close the window and exit QuickBooks. Alright, so now I'm going to scroll down to page 57, and here we have our modified income statement. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to export it, of course, at this time to Excel. So I'm going to export to Excel. I'm going to create a new worksheet within an existing workbook. When this pops up, we're going to go to the existing workbook. It's probably going to the workbook we want at this point, which is chapter 3 right there. I'm going to double click just to make sure and export that. Should open a new, which should open that workbook with a new tab and this file in that new tab. So here we have it. I'm going to make this large. I'm going to go over here to the View tab. I'm going to go to the Page Layout view so I can see the header. I'm going to select OK on that. Then I'm going to go to the View tab up here. We're going to go to the Windows group. I'm going to unsplit that weird split thing so that I can then see the tab and double click on it to change the name to the third quarter income statement. We're going to save that. I'm going to go back to the normal view. I'm going to move this a little bit this way so I could see more columns here. And I'm going to take this and pull that over here so it's in order. So then we have our tabs there. I'm going to go ahead and save those changes. I'm going to close that up. Once again, if you wanted to save it as a PDF file, you could print it to a PDF printer or go to File, Save as a PDF like so. And then we could also save it in that format. You don't have to, of course, save it in both these formats. I prefer the Excel document so that you can upload it at one time. But if that is not an option, this will work as well. And there we have that. So we're going to save that, and there is that. Lastly, if you were to upload this, if you're going to decide what you wanted to send to someone, either as an attachment or to upload it to the Moodle rooms, you can go into week 1. If you're going to upload all these files, say you wanted to upload all these files, then you could upload them one at a time, or you could zip the file and upload that all at one time by right-clicking the file and then going to send to a zipped file. So that'll create a copy of a file, but it'll now be zipped so that you can then attach the one file at one time.